Kamusta na mga ka-addict? In this video, you will see how to wire the high brake and the low brake signal input wires of a BLDC controller. These two features have the same function, to send signal to the controller telling to stop the motor from spinning or to cut power to the motor. The high and low brake signal will trigger the electronic braking system or regenerative braking system depending on the controller's features. In YYK Controller, both high and low brake signal trigger the regenerative braking that convert kinetic energy back into electrical energy to recharge the battery during deceleration. The strength of the electronic braking system or EBS or regenerative braking can be adjusted and customized through the YYK or Yuyang King app via Bluetooth, typically on a scale from 1 to 10. I used the 50 amp YYK controller for this tutorial. This controller supports a wide voltage range from 48 volts, 60 volts up to 72 volts. I already connected all the primary wires to activate the controller and to make the motor work. This is the positive power line wire and this is the negative power line wire. These two wires connect the battery and the controller for power supply. This is the electric lock wire or switch wire. It has to be connected to the positive power line wire that links the controller and the battery to activate or power on the controller. I have connected the motor phase wires. Hall sensor wires are also connected. Then I will use this thumb throttle for this tutorial. Always use a breaker for safer wirings. Let's start. These are the brake signal input wires. On my 50 amp YYK controller, the high brake signal input wire is color purple. And the low brake signal input is a combination of two wires, gray and black wire. The black wire is the ground and the gray wire is the low brake signal. Take note, not all BLDC controllers have the same color coding. You may find different wire color on other controllers. Normally, the wires on a BLDC controller are labeled. You can simply use the Google Lens to translate the labels written in Chinese to English. I'll start with the high brake signal input wire. To activate the high brake signal, you will need to apply high voltage, usually 12 volts or full battery pack voltage. Right now, I'm using a 72 volts battery pack. For this demonstration, I squeezed the throttle and locked it up to keep the motor spinning. To activate the high brake signal, you will need a high voltage supply. In this tutorial, I will use the full battery pack voltage. I will use an alligator clip to keep this tutorial easy and simple. This is the high brake signal. Simply connect high voltage to the high brake signal. The motor will then stop spinning. Each time you connect high voltage to the high brake signal input, it sends signal to the controller telling to stop the motor from spinning. As you can see, the positive power line wire that has high voltage is connected to the high brake signal, and that prevents the motor from spinning. The moment you disconnect the high voltage wire, the motor will again start spinning. Next is the low brake signal input wires. Remember that the black wire is the ground and the gray wire is the signal. To activate the low brake signal, the black wire or ground should be connected to the signal gray wire. I prepared this connector for easy example. As you can see, the black wire or ground wire is linked to the black wire that has alligator clip, and the gray wire or signal wire is linked to the other wire. To activate the low brake signal, simply connect the ground black wire to the signal gray wire. The motor will then stop spinning. This is a brake lever that has built-in switch. It has two wires, black and yellow. I made a temporary connector on the switch wire. This connector will match the low brake signal connector of the YYK BLDC controller. By simply squeezing the brake lever, it connects the ground black wire to the signal gray wire. Every time you squeeze the lever, the motor will stop spinning. On the other hand, the high brake signal has different wiring setup. I will use the same brake lever but this time with alligator clips. I connected an alligator clip on each switch wire. I clamped one of the alligator clip on the positive power line wire that has high voltage. And the other alligator clip is on the high brake signal wire. from the high voltage line wire going to the brake lever all the way to the high brake signal. The main goal here is to send high voltage to the high brake signal wire. When you squeeze the lever, it cuts off power to the motor. Both high and low brake signals are generally designed to cut off power to the motor. These two functions act as a safety cutoff that override the throttle. I will be making a separate video on how to wire the high brake signal wire on a brake light with 12 volts power supply. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to support my channel by liking, commenting, and sharing all my videos. At syempre maraming salamat mga ka-adik. Muli kayong naligaw sa channel ko. Ride safe lang palagi mga ka-adik.